There will be an asterisk on the era before alt basketball.
Offensively, it's easier, I think, to score in the NBA than college.
You agree with that? Yeah, there's just space.
Yeah.
There are 3 particular complaints that are direct indictments of an imbalance in the game. They are, number 1, too much three-point shooting. Number 2, too much scoring. And number 3, not enough defense.
I don't know. Look, it's a complicated question with no clear solution, but I do think the NBA is trending in a bad way. I think the three-point shot is hurting the league. And I think that some of these lower viewership numbers are a reflection of that.
And at the same time, it seems that there has been an obvious drop in player engagement. Today's players seem too comfortable, too confident, and they lack competitive instinct. For them, the game seems too easy, too casual.
Is the product less interesting to you now?
Well, product is less interesting to me now because of the players' efforts. Like, I think what they've done to All-Star Weekend is unforgivable. It's unconscionable what NBA players have done to All-Star Weekend. They should be ashamed of themselves.
We are watching a style of play that has us questioning the game's integrity. And we're not just noticing how the NBA has changed, we're mourning what's been lost. Everyone knows something has been off, but it seems no one has been able to actually put their finger on it.
It's the real conversation is what is the problem and fix that problem. Right. So is it style of play? Is it laziness?
Right.
What is it?
It's the players.
If it's too many threes, if that's like, what is the actual pinpoint complaint? Right? Because once you figure out what we're complaining about, then you just attack that.
Right, because fans aren't saying, I'm not watching because they're playing 12-minute quarters.
Nobody said that, yeah.
Right, I'm not watching because they're playing too many games. So there's another problem that needs to be addressed and fixed besides.
But what if we've been looking at the game all wrong? What if the biggest thing causing problems in the NBA game has actually been completely overlooked? What if the rim is now too big for today's NBA players? When you consider basketball's history, you'll realize that the rim was probably once a reasonable size in the beginning. But now, player evolution and analytics have enabled offense to become too advantaged. Scoring has become too easy. So easy, it skewed the game into distortion.
Thank you, Followell. Luka, it's never been done in NBA history. A 60-point, 20-rebound triple-double. 60 points, 20 boards. It never happened, baby. How's it feel right now?
I'm tired as hell.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm going to recover the beer.
I'm Nick Lopez, founder of ALTbasketball. ALTbasketball in concept is same court, same ball, same rules, but with a smaller diameter rim. To reignite creativity, intensity, and true competition in the NBA, we need to start where the imbalance between offense and defense begins: the size of the rim. Reducing the rim size is actually a simple adjustment for the NBA game. Controversial? Yes. Unreasonable? Maybe. We'll see what the competition committee says. But I contend that this change is the silver bullet that we have been searching for, with an impact that may just correct every aspect of the game. Wow. The silver bullet for everything. That's a big claim. Probably some slight hyperbole. But I mean, geez, we are talking about a big rim. So we all understand that rims are 10 foot high, but did you ever notice that the rim is 18 inches in diameter? If you're like me, you probably didn't. Let me give you an idea of just how big the traditional 18-inch diameter rim actually is. You may say, oh, that's not a basketball, it's a huge kid's play ball, a beach ball. And it is. Seems ridiculous. So why do I bring this out? Well, here's why. This huge ball fits within the traditional 18-inch rim with plenty of room to spare. And just to verify, this rim is 18 inches in inside diameter. This is a traditional basketball rim. You can fit nearly 2 size 7 NBA balls in the rim, and the WNBA balls, size 6, are even smaller. But that's a different story for a different time. Just for reference, this is a 13-inch diameter ALTbasketball rim, and you can see the traditional size 7 men's ball fits through without issue. Obviously, we're not recommending a rim this small, but considering the extremes of what's possible, the ball does fit. And while we're at it, this here is a 14.5-inch rim. Side note, you're now going to start seeing a lot of rims set up at less than 18 inches for athletes to train on all across the US. The 18-inch diameter rim is such a traditional legacy aspect of the game. It seems so untouchable, so set, and because of those reasons, it's never been a talking point. The rim has always just been what it is. Consider how we've had all kinds of rule and equipment changes to the NBA game, including improvement of breakaway rims and shadow cleat backboards to support the increased strength and power of athletes.
Yeah, why?
But there's never been a public consideration of the optimal rim size to account for current day players' actual shooting ability.
I'm going to tell you the thing that really jumped out to me about Steph and Clay in particular. The first day I walk into the gym, they're shooting at opposite goals. And so I just stopped and watched them shoot. And I hear him counting, and then they go in and he doesn't count. I'm like, well, why is he skipping some of these makes? He said, no, if it hit the rim, it don't count. That's how they train? If it hits the rim, that shot does not count. And he was shooting, I think it was 100 threes before and after practice. So when people see him shoot now, and it's just, that's reps. And I was like, ooh.
We take the rim for granted, but we need to ask, what is the purpose of the rim, really? The purpose of the rim is actually to be a governor that regulates the balance between offense and defense. Basic logic. Too big of a rim provides a greater advantage to the offense than the defense, and the bigger the rim gets, the easier that scoring becomes. The easier scoring becomes, the more all offensive players on the court start to look more like scorers. The more all players look like scorers, their differences in their ability is minimized.
Everybody looks the same.
Every game looks
every
the same.
possession's the
There's
same.
no different styles. There's no anything. And we're minimizing athleticism. John Morant goes on the record as like, I'm done dunking. Anthony Edwards taking 13 threes a game. It's clearly a disaster.
Awful.
A disaster.
Yes.
Conversely, the smaller the rim gets, the harder scoring becomes, and the defense becomes increasingly more advantaged. Today's players and teams have proven that the traditional 18-inch rim is outdated. There's evidence all around us. We just need to pay attention and listen to what they're saying.
It would manipulate pick and rolls, but once I can get a step or so and knock down a couple of shots, then it feels like I'm throwing the ball into the ocean.
The rim must be sized appropriately to keep a reasonable balance of competition in the game between offense and defense. So let's talk about offense and defense. Most every competitive player knows the adage is, you reach, I teach.
Had enough? Well, look here, sucker. You reach, I teach. Lesson just started.
Or the classic, good offense beats good defense.
On the second night of a back-to-back after that blowout win in Phoenix. Gotta get a shot up. Reed Shepherd did and made it over the top of Kawhi Leonard.
But has anyone really stopped to figure out why offense dominates the way that it does? The truth is, the rim diameter, the rules, the court size, the scoring system, they're all rooted in a more primitive time and player that required the advantages that a large enough rim would provide. And this is why the rim is so exposed, so vulnerable, and so taken advantage of today. On offense, today's players have evolved to the point that they have clear advantages in countless counters, tricks, and maneuvers to overcome defense. Just ask their dads. They'll tell you.
The old school basketball defense was over offense.
Right.
right? And then eventually, you know, it became even in like the 60s and 70s, and then the 80s, the offense became, 60-40. And then the 2000s, they tried to get it back to even. But now we're talking about offense is like 80-20, right? Since time has stood in, the evolution of basketball, defense hasn't actually evolved. Whatever rules was created then are still now. Offense
has evolved.
Right? So move that was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s compared to now, like Jordan has certain moves he did, right? He perfected those. The moves that are created since then.
I never really thought about it like that, but not to cut you, but like it's so true. Like offense changes like rapidly. You know what I mean? But defense is like, keep your man in front of you, move your feet, don't reach. Like it's
float
so
baseline, go this way, close out this, and it's
I never really thought of it like that.
It's so
break it down that way.
So what is the role of defense anyway? Initial thought might be, well, obviously defense is there to stop the offense. In some sports it is, but hold on, in basketball, is it really? Well, I'm here to tell you that with an oversized traditional rim like this that always has been used, defense was never intended to stop the offense. Defense is simply there to put up resistance. That's the expectation. Apply pressure, slow offense down, make them work, that's it. Even when an elite on-ball defender anticipates well and is somehow a step ahead of the offensive player, their efforts may not be fruitful if the entire defense, all 5 defenders, are not in sync. And I know, you might be ready to push back, say, no, great defense gets stops. And sure, sometimes it does. But I'll repeat, categorically, in the game of basketball, defense is only there to delay the inevitability of eventual scoring. But more on that later. The evolution of the player has allowed the game to now be played in ways that couldn't have been anticipated when the rim dimension was originally set at 18 inches. To understand player evolution, we must have a baseline understanding of the history of the game, specifically what the game looked like and how the game was originally played.
Over 120 years ago, entering the winter of 1891, Springfield College was known as the International YMCA Training School. A then second-year grad student, James Naismith, took to the task of creating a physical education curriculum for the winter session, when due to the freezing weather conditions, the activities were confined to the gymnasium. So he set out on a course to create a game with elements of rugby, lacrosse, and soccer to be played indoors with a ball and 2 goals. He asked the school janitor for 2 boxes, but was given 2 peach baskets instead. And when they were nailed to the lower rail of the gym's balcony, the game was born.
Just keep in mind, at that time, it wasn't being designed for professional leagues and billion-dollar franchises. After multiple possessions and missed attempts, only 1 basket was scored by a young Mr. William Chase. Mr. Chase, ALTbasketball honors the game's origins, and we acknowledge you. But why only 1 basket scored? Well, let's hear from Mr. James Naismith himself.
I showed them 2 peach baskets I'd nailed up at each end of the gym. And I told them the idea was to throw the ball into the opposing team's peach basket. I blew a whistle, and the first game of basketball began.
And what rules did you have for your new game, Dr. Naismith?
Well, I didn't have enough, and that's where I made my big mistake. The boys began tackling, kicking, and punching in the clinches. They ended up in a free-for-all in the middle of the gym floor. Before I could pull them apart, 1 boy was knocked out, several of them had black eyes, and 1 had a dislocated shoulder. It certainly was murder. Well, after that first match, I was afraid they'd kill each other, but they kept nagging me to let them play again. So I made up some more rules. The most important one was that there should be no running with the ball. That stopped tackling and slugging. We tried out the game with those rules, and we didn't have 1 casualty. We had a fine, clean sport.
It was clear that Mr. Naismith's game was exciting and very competitive. The sport grew in popularity and evolved quickly. Actually, with early basketball, fans were known to reach over the balconies and swipe at the ball to challenge shots. I guess kind of like arena football today. Wild. Just 5 years later, in 1896, basketball games commonly featured 5 players per side, actual backboards and rims, and an actual designed basketball. That year, the first ever college game saw the University of Chicago defeat the University of Iowa 15-12. A couple of years later, the National Basketball League became the first professional league. Over the next few decades, other professional leagues were founded, including the Basketball Association of America, which later merged with the National Basketball League to form what we now know as the National Basketball Association. It's noted that in general, the early pro leagues sometimes were intense, possibly too intense, with frequent enough brawls and clashes that sometimes blurred the lines between sport and street fight. And what we now recognize as the NBA's first official game, with 5 players per team, dribbling in full effect and a focus on skill rather than scrapping, the court and the general game looked, at this point, much more like the foundation of pro basketball as we know it now. Of course, minus the three-point line, which was not yet invented. The first NBA game was played between New York and Toronto, with the first ever basket scored by Mr. Ozzie Sheckman.
We became the first ever game.
I made the first basket of the game. It was a simple give and go. It was quite a thrill. And I think back, first 2 points scored in the NBA.
I kicked Ozzie about that. The only reason he scored it because I wasn't guarding him.
In the entire second half, the game seesaws back and forth with each side holding a temporary edge. The Huskies go down the court to score again and come within striking distance of victory. But despite the comeback, New York scores this basket to win 68-66.
It was a thrill being an original Knick.
Now let's jump ahead nearly 8 decades. We'll keep it simple. We're going to look at the most recent game played between those same 2 cities, New York and Toronto. Their most recent game had a score of 121-115.
Shot. Everybody is talented. So you just have to lean into your abilities, what you can do, how you personally can grow, because the second you take your eye.
Speaking of eye, Ochai with the 3. 7 on the shot clock. Brunson launches the 3. Jalen Brunson.
That's 236 total points. That's nearly double the points scored in the NBA's first ever game. So why so many more points? What's changed? How did we go from a game where just 1 basket was made before brawls were incited to 27 total in the first college game, to 134 total in the first NBA game, to today's high-scoring games of 236 to 280 something points? Let's take a closer look.
And then you see the stats today. And the stats come out saying the NBA viewership is down 48% the last 12 years. I no longer watch the NBA, okay? To me, they've lost me as a fan. You, as somebody who was face known worldwide, what happened to the NBA the last 10, 20 years?
Well, I feel like that the game changed. It became more of a perimeter shooter game, if I could say that. And I think I remember right when I was leaving the game, early 2000, that the league promoted more scoring. They wanted to get more points up on the board. They felt like that would get the fans more engaged.
Tail end of your career.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
So it at that point to me, it started looking more like a game built for offensive players, guys that did play defense and, took pride in playing defense, were to some degree punished, I felt like, because everything was working in favor of the offensive player. And then they put the circle in there where a guy is not allowed to take a charge at certain points in the lane, at a certain position in the lane. So I think with a a lot of things changing within the game.
But while these changes can surely explain some of the uptick, they're not the whole story.
When the game starts slowing down for some of these guys, you be like, they already masters
certain things. Yeah.
Like he's an early master. Like I was trying to get into that level. Like at 25, I wasn't a master. I was still using like I'm faster than you, I'm stronger than you, like because I know your offense. But I didn't get into master mode. Right? At 25 and 24, so these kids are at master mode already. And I'm just sitting here like, this is incredible.
Yeah, and I think that comes from who's around them too. Like I said, like even your youth.
Players have evolved. And with the increased skill, ability, and awareness, today's players have allowed an updated offensive strategy that has forced a data-driven obsession with a three-point shot. And fans aren't happy.
This game we're watching now, I don't know what we're watching now.
Yo, thank you. I really believe this. I was talking to some younger dudes. They say, yeah, I said the 90s and it was way harder than this. You guys, this is like kind of soft. Am I lying? Am I crazy? I'm not a basketball expert.
It's soft. It's soft, and I've said this a million times. It's soft because everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Of all of your opinions, that take about it's all three-point shooting has spread for months. And I feel like so much so that Commissioner Adam Silver even had to address you saying that. And the true thing is I saw a clip the other night of the Lakers and Suns where it was 7 straight possessions of 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And the problem is we've reached a point with the analytics where the 3 is worth more than 2. And so now all the smartest people, yes.
If you make it, you got to make it.
What they're saying is
thank you.
A 50% shooter of a 2 compared to a 40% shooter of a 3, mathematically it makes more sense to shoot the 3. But we've got to the point now where I think we've lost like this. We've lost this. We've lost the dunks. And what we loved and what we've always loved is competition. There's no competition when it's a 3. It's a contest, not a competition.
I think it's when Wemba is throwing a 3-point, get in the middle.
I hate it.
What are you doing? What is this? It's corny.
I hate we've lost chasing the mystery. What I mean by that, every morning we had a shoot around to try to solve how are we going to stop Ewing? How are we going to stop Kevin Garnett?
Yeah.
How are we going to stop Michael Jordan and his triangle? How are we going to stop Utah and a million finger rolls? Now,
we know today's strategy has a heavy emphasis on analytics, the numbers game, and it's dictating how teams should play to maximize their potential to win. We've seen a three-point arms race mandated by each team. As a result, there has been an explosion of players taking a high volume of threes.
No, I just think it's the brand of basketball. Like, people like watching quality. Like, you like the fly quality. You like quality shoes, quality clothes, all that. It's like the brand. Like, when you watch a game, like, if I see a team shoot 55 threes and I ain't got a bunch of shooters, like, I expect Steph Curry to shoot threes. I expect certain people to shoot threes. But if they not, I don't want to see Giannis shooting threes, or I don't want to see Joker shooting 23s, or no, you know what I mean? Like it's like the way you play, and I think styles make great fights, but also like styles make great quality.
And today's players are not just shooting more threes, but many players have been shooting what conventional wisdom always said were particularly challenging threes.
Gotta get off it though. He's gotta get off it.
Anybody else? What?
Oh my God, he can't be
Ain't
serious.
no way. Taylor, what's wrong with that shot, guys? What's wrong with that shot?
Hold on now.
Can I see it again?
Who's
Can I see
taking
this
it?
clip?
It's who's
Where did he take that from? What do you want to do? Take a dribble? Dog, just 10 seconds left in the game. But what if you're not gonna get a better shot than that? You gonna be
this. Look at this.
No contest.
Look at this.
I'm sorry, I'm cool if I'm going to
He's
stay.
shooting where Darvin Ham is. Get off the Henny.
I cannot.
No way.
Guys, come on.
No way.
I mean,
Jose.
sick if they lose this one, which
They're gonna.
You know what that is? That's analytics. You think because he
You don't
can
like
shoot,
that shot?
Not one bit. He don't
I'm
like
not
that
mad.
shot.
Yeah, well,
Look
I
at
mean,
him.
Jordan was like, I had the high hand, I was having a good game. I'm not
I'm not
excusing
mad
it.
at that shot. He's wide open.
Dog. From that far away with 10 seconds, and you have an advantage?
I'm shooting it. I'm shooting it if I'm Jordan. So I feel you, Jordan. I would have shot that too.
That's why you here with us. He gonna be here with us next year.
We're talking about step back, double step back, fade away, running one leg. The shots are getting so creative. We now have 3-point shots that we can't even figure out how to describe.
But you got your rhythm going now. Thanks, James.
We've seen it. James Harden ISO. Luka in ISO. Kyrie in ISO, right? The step back three. The individual Steph Curry, the individually created step back three. Going back to the same tracking era, last 10 years, roughly 33% is the average value, or average shooting percentage of a step back three 10 years ago. Now it's a little over 35%. So it's gone up 2 percentage points, and the volume has gone up. Guys are able and willing, Jason Tatum, they're able and willing to take that shot not only more frequently, but at a higher clip. I'm trying to explain here why offenses are good.
Offenses are good and very hard.
This shot is worth 1.5 more than this shot.
Today's players don't understand the concept of bad shots. Most every player is green-lit to let the three fly, early and often. The quicker you can shoot one, the quicker you can get another one hoisted up. Teams are going after volume.
Here's another interesting thing I found about threes. So let's call 18 to 24 seconds on the shot clock. Let's call that early shot clock, okay? First 6 seconds of the shot clock. In 2014, 2015, the average team for this season took 322 total threes in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock.
Okay. What is this? You said 13, 14?
Yeah, 14, 15.
15.
Five teams attempted below 200 total threes for this season in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock. Last season's data, that number was up by 100 total threes, basically 420 total threes. Half the league attempted 400 or more total threes in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock. That's the other thing that has changed the most.
In some instances, today's players have rivaled, even outpaced, the volume and three-point percentages of the game's most iconic three-point shooters like Stephen Curry, Damian Lillard, two of the NBA's top 100 greatest players of all time. We are at the point now where the three-point shot is so prioritized, players are even passing up wide-open layups and dunks at the rim, retreating instead back to the three-point line to try a three-pointer. Evidently, the analytics must support that it's better to hope for a three rather than take a guaranteed two. But it's not just that 40 to 60 shots a game now being threes in itself makes the game less interesting. The bigger problem is that the three-point cheat code unlocked by a rim that is now too big has destroyed the intended balance between offense and defense. Why? Defensive players are forced into impossible matchups, chasing shooters across expanded spacing, covering tremendous distances. The issue now is that player ability has evolved so much that the offenses are literally shooting right over defense, disregarding defense altogether. Reasonable threats from so far out forces defenders to have to commit to cover 5 three-point shooters around or above the perimeter, which means that the lane is wide open.
These high pick and rolls, because now we see, like, I'm gonna draw it correctly this time.
You have a dry erase board to them.
Now we see pick up points just inside half court. Again, you're asking first of all, you're asking this guard to navigate.
They call it the 4-point line now.
Yeah. And secondly,
bigs are not accustomed. They can't.
This is the thing I just want to point out, because I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it goes back to like the 5-out concept. Yep. It's like, I love watching basketball, period. And I love watching any era. I watch games on YouTube. It's like, I wish I could have seen some of these players in person. They're educational and informative, LeBron. They're educational and informative. Like, we would never see this where, you know, an offensive team is going this way and two players run to the block. We'd never see that, right? So now,
yeah, that's over with.
That was the requirement.
Yeah, it
like
was.
for a big. This is the area. Even early in my career, this was the requirement. That's the area you have to cover.
Yep.
Last year's playoff series against the Warriors is a great example. You're now asking Anthony Davis to cover all over here.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we need you to get back
and
protect
cover
the rim. The point in all this is, again, going back to just spacing and 5 out.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're taking, sorry, I'm oscillating between X and O's, offense and defense. If this is X5 right here.
Yep.
He's got an O and an X. But if you're taking, in your case, by the way, because I've looked up the data on this, you're taking a top 5 to 10 rim defender all the way out of here. You're then relying on some of, no offense, some of the worst rim defenders by percentages in the NBA this season.
For sure.
That is the challenge of a modern defense.
That is.
Because there's enough guys, as I just went through this, the numbers, there's enough guys night to night that are shooting out of high pick and roll.
Yeah.
Traditional fans know that the game doesn't make sense anymore.
But you just can't have that be the best shot in every situation. You just cannot have teams, when they're running a 3-on-1 break, flaring to the corners because they want to take a corner 3 instead of an uncontested layup. That's just not basketball. And I have to believe the people who run this sport agree with that. If you love the sport, if you have paid attention to it for longer than the last 4 years, you know I'm right.
The scoring became easier and something got lost. The struggle that made every basket feel earned.
I still want the shot part of the game. I'm not taking the shot out of the game. But we just need to knock the percentage down a little bit. When the shot is just too easy, everyone can make it. If you just knock that number down, dial it back just a couple of percent, it will make all the difference.
The league shoots 38% between 24 and 25 feet.
With ALTbasketball, the smaller rim, there is less margin for error, and offensive players will ultimately need to be more selective, more accurate, more precise, and more controlled in their shooting, whether it's near the rim, mid-range, or from beyond the arc. The pressure for offense on each possession rises because the expected return, the points per possession, the effective field goal percentage, they drop. This shift will demand better play calling and a more intentional style of offense, where shot selection matters again. And what used to be considered a bad shot will once again be treated as such.
Less than a minute to go.
No.
Oh my goodness, Valentine!
No.
Whoa, no!
No.
That is not the shot at that moment.
That's a horrible shot. No. Wow.
Suddenly, diverse skill sets become valuable again. Physical post-ups, soft mid-range jumpers, and crafty footwork will return to relevance as offenses will no longer be able to rely on spamming deep shots to outpace opponents. And as offensive players will be hesitant to just let any open shot fly, defense regains power.
You know what's going on.
Yeah. So obviously Steph can shoot this 3.
Yep.
But as this big is frantically trying to get out here,
Yeah, he's done.
the overreaction to the threat of this,
Yep.
he's going to overcommit, whether it's a shot fake or whether it's just getting out. This defender right here, he's chasing.
He's chasing over.
So now the big has a free run.
Yep. And
pocket pass.
Draymond pocket pass lob to one of those athletes, you know, and it's over with.
Because defenders no longer have to stretch themselves thin, guarding 5 players around the arc, they can play with confidence, knowing that they have a second level of help side defense, defenders near the block. With that, well thought out defensive schemes and players can truly disrupt possessions.
Like, we don't know. I could ask you right now who's the top 10 defenders in the league. We
have
would
no
be
idea.
we would be hard pressed to find 4 or 5 clean cut guys that you'd be like, they lockdown defenders, because the creativity is lacking in the game, where the offensive players are not showing who they really are because the analytics are running a lot of the game. And on the flip side of that, you don't even know who's the defenders, who's the lockdown guys, because it's just an up and down game where we shooting a bunch of 3-pointers. I would say that's why the viewing is down. It's too much of the All-Star game feeling.
This one change, shrinking the rim, restores competitive tension in the game. It forces both sides of the ball to re-engage with fundamentals, creativity, and grit. Offense can't coast. Defense can finally dictate. And the game starts to look and feel like real basketball again, the kind that fans want to see.
And that's an area where, talk about people involved. You know, Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K, he's become an advisor post-Duke to the competition committee. And I remember him saying at one of the meetings, fans like defense too.
When you think about it, in hindsight, basketball was originally designed to favor offense more than any other major sport. Much more. Remember, one of the 3 major complaints about the NBA's style of play is that there is too much scoring, and it's become monotonous.
Some say the three-point ball has created a monotonous rhythm to the game, and others say that it has distorted the scoring system.
In the NFL, people aren't like, I want to see less scoring. They're not going to make the end zone smaller. They're not going to make the field smaller. So, like, scoring is up across in other sports. And I guess my question would be is why in basketball is scoring up being an issue as opposed to other sports? Does anybody want to watch a football game and see less touchdowns? So I think at the end of the day, I think, anything new or change is different, but, I don't know.
However, ALTbasketball is pushing back on Joe's comments. Without realizing what he's done, he's proved our point. Joe Mazzulla, incredible coach. Joe said, fans don't talk about needing to reduce the scoring in the NFL. But let's think through why that is. The reason why there is no fan uproar demanding the NFL should have less scoring is that the NFL already has very few instances of scoring. Teams are averaging only 22.9 points per game last year. Now let's convert that to actual instances of scoring. That's basically 3 touchdowns, 3 coinciding extra point kicks, and less than a field goal per game. That would be only 7 instances of scoring per game. Actually, that's an above average scoring game. In basketball, there is sentiment that scoring matters so much. That's always been the focus. That's what we've been convinced of. Joe must have been working off of intuition. He's inferred that because the NFL is so popular, then scoring must be up in the NFL. But ALTbasketball, we did the research. At the time of Joe's comments in December of 2024, heading into week 16 of the NFL season, he was technically correct. Scoring was up from the 2023 season, but here's the thing, it was just barely up. We're talking about only being up 1.06 points per game. And reality is, you can see here, actually, until then, scoring in the NFL had been on a downward trend year over year since 2000. By the end of the 2024 season, NFL teams ended up averaging 1.15 more points than they did in 2023. That's a 5.28% of change increase from the prior year. You could make a case that that isn't maybe even statistically significant enough to leverage for an argument that scoring is up so much. Particularly when you take all years into consideration here and realize that even with 2024 scoring being up barely, Overall, NFL scoring is still down 7.59% since 2020. It looks like Joe Mazzulla tricked y'all, man. And wow, somehow, while scoring decreases in the NFL, demand and fan interest in the NFL increases. The NFL's popularity is at all-time highs. Domestically, the NFL is a superpower. Oh yeah, before I forget, one other thing. The NFL has seriously considered reducing the goalpost size to make field goal kicking more challenging, harder to score, and bring more entertainment to the game.
Now what's the NFL trying to do, AJ? Tell me what they're trying to do.
I heard a rumor that they're trying to narrow the goalpost.
Whoa.
Is that real?
What?
The bottom line is that the NFL has maybe 14 total scoring plays a game for fans to cheer or cry over, whereas the NBA oversaturates fans with 140 to 150 different instances of actual scoring a game.
So like scoring is up across in other sports. And
Okay, so what about Major League Baseball?
He's got 6 scoreless innings under his belt.
Well, in baseball, you might go 6 innings without even seeing a run. And fans hang on every pitch. Every run feels earned. Baseball has averages of around 4 to 5 scores per team a game. And actually, I hate to tell you, baseball scores per game are also down over their averages since the year 2000. Scoring per team is down in 3 over their last 5 years. Also consider that Major League Baseball uses only wooden bats because the aluminum bats used in high school and college would be too much of an offensive advantage for MLB players who are too strong, too skilled, too able. Okay, so what about hockey? Well, in hockey, goals are hard to come by. That's kind of the point. The net is small. There is a designated goalie that wears enough padding to look like a tank blocking a doorway. So this last season, the NHL saw 3.01 scores per team a game. And I hate to tell you, that's down from 3.08 the season prior. But still, fans are glued to the ice, holding their breath every time the puck enters the scoring zone. And then there's soccer. Soccer has one of the largest goals in sports, larger than a basketball rim, larger than a hockey goal, and yet scoring is incredibly difficult. That's because there is a designated goalkeeper that has advantages of using their hands. And on direct free kicks resulting from penalties, the goalie has a further advantage and a wall of defenders as their front line. The MLS saw 3.11 goals a game per team last year. Actually, in soccer, this past year is the second highest scoring average in the last 20 years. The most has been 3.18. So in Major League Soccer, scoring is up, and it's still less than 1/25 of all the scores in an NBA game. Actually, it goes even deeper. In each of these 4 other major U.S. sports, in fact, it's not even expected that both teams will score at all. So here you go. Evidence of games and matches with 0 points scored in regulation for each of these sports except basketball. Remember that knee-jerk dismissal earlier when I said in basketball, the NBA, defense is not expected to stop the offense from scoring? When have you ever seen the best NBA defense shut out any NBA team? Hold them to 0 points scored in a game? I'll save you some time. I've done the research. Never. That's never happened. Basketball is the only major sport where we've let scoring become so easy, so predictable, that it's lost its punch. Turns out, the three-point revolution didn't just changed spacing and the way that the game flows. It's intuitively changed how we feel about the game. It's unreasonable to expect fans to be excited about scoring at volume. Really, when I think of it, I'd suggest that now a good 60 to 75% of any scores in an NBA game aren't even acknowledged with any excitement by general fans in the arena. To them, they are just more scores. You know what the scores are for? At this stage in the evolution of the game, the scores are for the players' positive reinforcement and confidence. Scoring isn't for the fans. All these analysts on these teams have been analyzing players and the game for competitive advantages, but what hasn't had attention drawn to it is the NBA versus other major league sports scoring models. If every major US sport has less than 10 scores per team a game, and there's another outlier sport that has 70 to 80 scores a game, why hasn't that ever been questioned? It's 2025. We need to finally realize why the NBA domestic fan base is frustrated and disinterested.
The smart way to play is probably what the Celtics did on opening night. Shoot 60 of them things. That is the best strategy. That is also terrible television. And I love the league. I love it. But this is not sustainable. At its core, the NBA is at its best when dudes are flying over people, meeting them at the rim. Hanging out at the three-point line, hoisting 30-footers is not good TV. And you are going down a path where the games are less compelling television and the fans are worried, do the players even care? It's just a warning to a league I love. You are playing a dangerous, dangerous game.
The NFL, the MLB, the NHL, MLS, they hook their fans not with constant scoring, but with tension, stemming from the balance in the game between offense and defense. The tension results in an emphasis of celebrating competition. We need to understand that scoring is rare in those leagues, and that's what makes it matter so much in every sport except for basketball. That's what makes those games exciting and worth watching. Now let's circle back to lack of player engagement. That seems to be a sticking point that there is no answer for.
That's the direction of where the game is. You cannot make players play. And to be honest, this will continue to go on.
Oh, I agree. No,
it's not going to stop.
I agree with you.
Players are now at the point where they are saying, I'm going to play 50 games.
Wow.
Come here. But here's the truth that it seems no one's been able to figure out. The rim, the traditional, unchanged 18-inch diameter rim, it isn't just responsible for the imbalance between offense and defense, which leads to entertainment issues. It's responsible for the lack of respect between fans and players.
They have sort of, to me, they have separated themselves. It's the players and it's the fans. And if you say something to me, it better be nice, or I'm gonna have you removed from the arena.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's bad. I think it's bad.
The oversized rim has allowed a vicious cycle to occur.
I think it's easier to score now than it's ever been in the history of basketball.
When stats are constantly pushed beyond the limits of what was thought to be possible,
you get another triple-double, perfect from the field, perfect from the free throw line. The first player ever to do that. Thoughts on that?
That's pretty interesting.
Fans' expectations increase. Effort gets overlooked. Appreciation declines, and players stop feeling the love. And too many voices, from social media to studio desks, have had their hand in encouraging many fans to develop unreasonable expectations of our players. Think about it. Of all the major sports, there is no other league whose players are as scrutinized as NBA players. MLB and NFL players can get away with a lot because they play baseball, they play football. Soccer and NHL players don't have the wider public's consciousness. NBA players, just simply put, in relation, they can't get away with much. It's interesting that we expect today's players to play like warriors, but we're too irked to give them the respect that true warriors deserve. In today's environment, players seem to be under 24/7 scrutiny, and they aren't trusted with the integrity of the game. Every move on and off the court seems to be judged, monetized, and memed. There are some fans and pundits that have created a no-win scenario. Get an injury and can't play through it, you're soft. Need an off day to best recover nagging injuries, you're lazy. Quiet, you don't care. Voicing your opinion, shut up and dribble. What about having an all-time great playoffs run? 4 great finals games in a row. Well, there seems to be an expectation for the 5th to be even better. And if it's not, you're ridiculed, regardless if you're playing through a supposed injury or not.
Or he does go back to the locker room, you do worry about the next game as well.
Well, sit him down. And go,
maybe they will. Maybe they should.
Okay, well, sit him down because I don't want to hear the excuses. If you're on the floor, you need to produce. This is the NBA Finals. This is Game 5. And to be honest, before he went down with the calf injury,
he was still looking
scared.
bad.
He looked scared to death.
That's a big word. I don't know about
I'm
scared.
telling you how I feel.
Okay,
He looked scared. He was going east to west instead of north to south.
So let's get dark action here, offense.
Listen. Bottom line is this. Halliburton has looked awful, and I'm glad he's injured. I'm not saying I'm glad he's injured, but I'm glad we got that as a rationale. But 15-1 off turnovers. OKC's outscoring them 12-0 on fast break points. This is a collective beatdown that we're about to witness if the Indiana Pacers don't get themselves together in the second half.
And even though today's players may be more confident and physically capable than ever,
Amen. At the end of the Minnesota game, you said, let the ball come to me because I know I'm going to make it. Was that the same feeling tonight, Cole?
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
it seems that they are not taken seriously when they've been telling us that they are having problems with the game, with the fans. We all brush it off because we've been told these are the new realities of today's NBA. Players just need to toughen up. It's what comes with the job. But this job isn't what the job used to be. Players are boxed in by fan expectations, yes. And now, analytics. They are being forced to play a completely different game. It's not being played for the joy and competition. It's being played to keep up with the numbers.
Like, he's one of those guys, I'm like, bro, stay down. Stay down. Remain yourself. Don't allow them numbers to put you into a position where you feel like I got to shoot 10 to 15 threes a night. And I guarantee you that's not an Anthony Edwards thing. That's coming from the coaching staff and the management and the analytics department. That's not coming from him. He's just following the direction that the team want to go in. I agree.
And not only analytics, but players today have to deal with yesterday's players, constantly telling them that they are soft, not competitive enough, and couldn't play in the 2000s, 90s, 80s, all these other eras.
These guys are more talented, but they also soft. Never mind. My bad.
Well, that's just, all right, that's what it is. That's just how the league is, though, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's just how the league is trending.
We need to liberate these players. And after all, if these players are as great as they say that they are, as they tell us, why would they want to be constantly compared to guys who played against plumbers and firemen?
Point guard. He's an all-time great point guard. Without question. If he wins a championship, he's in the conversation for the greatest point guard ever. I'm not saying he's the
no, he's not. Greatest point guard. He's not Bob Cousy.
He's not Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand.
Bob Cousy changed the game. Chris Paul didn't change the game.
Bob Cousy
changed
won
the game.
championships when there were 8 teams in the NBA and you had to win 2 playoff series.
Guys,
Let's celebrate Bob Cousy in his era, but you can't compare pre-1980 with
oh, yes, you can.
with the modern
Yes, you
NBA.
can.
No, you cannot. No, you
Cousy,
cannot.
well, how about Weston Oscar? Can you compare Cousy with Weston Oscar?
The great players could play in any era. There's no doubt about that.
Cousy was first team All NBA when Weston Oscar were playing. And he was first team All NBA. That's against Weston Oscar. Well, first team All NBA.
You know,
has Paul ever been first team All NBA?
Did Bob Cousy ever shoot over 40% from the field?
Well,
in his
we
career?
understand that.
Did he
right.
overshoot? Did he ever shoot over 40%?
Probably 39, 40%. Different kind
Not
of game.
once.
It's
Not
fair.
once.
That's fair. He also had 29 assists in an NBA game.
Oh, well, you know, he was being guarded by plumbers and firemen.
Thanks for watching ESPN on.
The traditional 18-inch diameter rim wasn't designed for today's NBA player. It was designed for the plumbers and firemen of the early 1900s.
If a youngster was to see us play, they wouldn't really think we were playing basketball. We didn't have the individual style of play. We didn't have the size and the agility and the talent that they have today.
We're not here to argue about who was better, today's players or yesterday's legends. We're here to free the game from that tired debate, to liberate it from comparison, constraint, and cynicism. Instead of arguing about the same tired old debates, let's acknowledge that we are ready for something new. Not just a change in format, but a change in spirit. And let's appreciate the players that we have. By resizing the rim, we're restoring the challenge by scaling the game appropriately for their ability so they can show us who they really are.
Listen, I'm going to give you your flowers, champ, because for you to still play that game in today's game where you got to hear the noise of that is a bad shot. Yeah. That is not an effective shot. And for you to go against the norm, go against the noise, again, above the noise when it comes to your game. Yeah. You pay attention to your game. You don't pay attention to nobody else. So I really want to, take my hat off to you because I'm sure it's very difficult for you to play in today's game.
Yeah, and it's tough, and it goes back to where, like, I never want young guys that's coming up to feel discouraged, like they got to go out there and be Steph Curry all the time. Because everybody's just not going to be Steph Curry. It's one Steph Curry. What he's able to do is incredible. I think we would never see nobody else like that. But I always, and it's crazy, I heard you talk about it with your son one time, that you taught him the game inside out first. Yeah. And that's not preached enough within our game. So,
as fans, we have to recognize that if we want the game to return to the spirit that we love so much, we, the fans, we have to lead the way. It's really common sense. Players are motivated to play their best when they feel supported, not surveilled. When they feel energy, not expectation. When they're playing for the crowd, not in spite of it. ALTbasketball is the reset between offense and defense, players and fans, spirit and strategy. It's the liberation of the game back to its purest form, one full of possibility. We're here to unlock what this generation of athletes can truly become, to challenge them with a game worthy of their gifts, harder, fairer, and more complete. We're instigating an environment where creativity thrives, instinct matters, and effort is rewarded. Because the greatest thing that basketball ever gave us wasn't the highlight reel. It was the wonderment. It was the feeling that anything could happen.
It's more special.
the happiest day of my life, man. Kids, remember this. If you can remember one thing I say to you, anything's possible, man. This ain't no cliche, this real talk.
Basketball's liberation won't happen in isolation. It takes a shared commitment. Teams, players, fans, media, future generations, all working toward a higher standard of connection, respect, and purpose. Establishing a new culture isn't just about changing the game. It's about changing how we show up for it. When we shift from judgment to curiosity, from entitlement to respect, we create an environment where players feel the support that they need to take risks, push limits, and reignite the passion that made them fall in love with basketball in the first place. Fan accountability is the foundation for a player's admiration.
James, you saw my hat? No. What? Please? Thank you.
We say we're fans. If we're fans, let's act like it. When fans engage with the best of intentions, cheering with heart, critiquing with care, we stop being spectators and start becoming stewards of the game. And in that kind of culture, when the relationships feel right, players feel it. And they get an adrenaline rush that doesn't just allow them to play harder, run faster, jump higher. They play freer. And when players are free to be creative, they want more. And they take the game to new heights.
I remember asking him why he couldn't just sit a game out because he was hurting. He said, "What about the fans that saved up to watch me play just once?" He never forgot about his fans. If he could help it, he would play every minute of every game. He loved you all so much.
Alt basketball is the answer to what fans have been craving and what players have been needing. It brings them back together, united around a game that demands more, gives more, and means more. So, while we hope to encourage fans to pressure the NBA to consider the alt basketball smaller rim concept to remedy gameplay, to all of my fellow traditional NBA fans, you've been watching from the sidelines. Voices loud, but unheard. Now's the time to stop settling for a seat outside the arena of influence, because I'm announcing that alt basketball is taking control and finally giving power to the fans. And it starts right now with the announcement of our National Professional Women's League. I'm talking about the women's game the way that we've always wanted to see it. Turns out the alt basketball smaller rim concept is what we've needed to unlock the women's game so we can now lower the rim. Alt Basketball Inc. is building more than a league. It's a place where fans and players meet again, not in conflict, but in a shared commitment.
But it's not as exciting.
No, it's not as exciting.
It's not as exciting basketball.
Yeah, you're not.
They gotta lower the rims. I would watch a girl coming down the lane on another. I would watch that. They need to lower the rims.
They're actually.
These athletes aren't just stepping onto the court. They're stepping into history. Subscribe to Alt Basketball's official YouTube channel and keep up to date, but immediately find our Women's League announcement video and feel the difference. Then join us. We're going to have a good time. If we want a better game, a better culture, a better future, we can't wait for someone else to do it for us. We have to build it together. The good news is, our time has come. Alt Basketball. Start here.
for season seat tickets next year. Liam, let's go in 3, 2, 1. Congratulations!